Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission. We also, at the mayor's request, wish to move his discussion of the protocol from 6B location to item 12, commission comments. We'd also like to postpone the request for a water refund at the request of the applicants. That's item D under 9. Postpone that. And we'd like to add Amendment 1 to our agreement with Con Evans, who is the nice person who is assisting us with the FEMA grant application. And the question on sidewalk repair, I'd like to leave that on, but I want to explain to you something about it. You may wish to take it off. That particular, well, I'll do it right now. That particular request came from the contractor who we asked to take a look at these sidewalks, and he's the one that came up with a list of work to be done. So we've not really had a chance to go through it on the staff level. So because of that, you may wish to pull it from the agenda, but we certainly would not object. It's not yet, in my mind, ready for prime time. So if you want to pull that, I'm happy with that as well.
Any comments from the commission?
More information is better.
I'm just wondering about postponing of 9D. Is that until January?
That would be till the next, yes, the next year.
This funds amendment, where do we place that?
We can place that under the city manager's version of it, or if you want to be nice to Con, you can put it up earlier. I'm not suggesting it be nice to her.
Any more deletions, modifications?
None for me.
Hearing none. Have a motion?
I make a motion that we postpone 9C until further information is gone through with the commission, or with the city staff. I don't know if I worded that correctly.
You make a motion that we table 9B.
C.
9C. Okay.
And D.
C and D. You make a motion. The motion has been made to table 9C and 9D. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Bishop. All in favor? Any opposed? I vote in affirmative. So moving on. Okay, y'all know this is my first full meeting, so don't bear with me. We have over the holiday we don't move that far. The approval of the minutes. Motion by Mr. Rutledge. Second by Commissioner Donato. Do we have all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? One opposed and 4 in favor. Commissioner Eckert opposed. Is there anything you want to say on your? Okay. Presentation to the commission, a recognition for the Meritorious Service Award to Officer Trevor Ray. Police Chief Brandon will come out.
Good evening, everyone. On 11/20 of this year, Officer Trevor Gray was working normal patrol at approximately 0300 hours. Officer Gray heard a dispatch in reference to a suspicious incident call with a potential juvenile in danger. The reporting party had phoned 911, stating to dispatch her 14-year-old friend called her saying she was sexually assaulted by an adult male after the male picked her up in Tampa and drove her back to Volusia County. Multiple units from multiple law enforcement agencies were frantically looking for the suspect and vehicle. Officer Gray made his way to Interstate 4 at approximately 0400 hours. Officer Gray observed a vehicle matching the description of the suspect vehicle traveling on I-4. Officer Gray got behind the vehicle, was able to identify it as the suspect vehicle. Officer Gray maintained visual on the vehicle. Once units from Volusia County Sheriff's Office arrived, Officer Gray initiated a traffic stop. The driver, a 28-year-old male, was detained, and the 14-year-old victim was found in the back seat and recovered safely. Investigation later revealed the 28-year-old male posed as a 17-year-old male on Snapchat and drove to Tampa, Florida to meet the 14-year-old victim. He drove her back to Volusia County, where she was held against her will. Due to Officer Gray's dedication and willingness to protect the public, Officer Gray went above and beyond his duties, and his actions saved a 14-year-old child from further victimization. For Officer Gray's action, he is being awarded a certificate of meritorious service.
Thank you, Chief. It's very seldom that we have our officers given the spotlight for things that they do right, and in this case, Neil's got his phone on. In this case, we really appreciate the over and the beyond the call of duty, and for that, our youth was saved. So thank you very much. The next announcements, we're going to have many of you guys a chance to see the Christmas lights. They're all up around, and on the last day of just before we made the trip, and the people who were on board, they made their decisions, and Alan will give us the results of that and tell us what the awards are and what the prizes are.
All right. Oh, there I am. All right, so a couple things here. It's so loud. I love to hear my voice, but that's loud, isn't it? All right. This is our 6th year doing running the Butler's Express. Seems like we just started this yesterday, but 6 years in the books, and it gets better every year. I'd like to thank all the citizens for decorating, and oh yeah, that's better. Thank you. Thank you for all the citizens for decorating, bringing back the holiday magic. You can see the level of lights getting better and better day by day, and it means a lot to me, and I can't do this without you guys and the city people and the citizens. So I would like to thank Rick Mullen and his city staff for their efforts this year. The tree looked great. Thank you. There's obviously a lot. You can clearly see that there's more lights up this year because of you being back. The city properties look amazing, and I only expect us to get better every year, and so thank you. the flags, the banners on the phone poles and all that it was good to see them back up too. Another thing, Rick coordinated with KDT Electric this year, and in the past we've always had to borrow the light tower. I put fuel in it, but we borrowed the city's light tower. This year they were able to put some lights, LED lights on the pole in the, that's not me. That's not me. But they put lights on the pole in like a universal spot, so it lights up all the parking area nicely and keeps everybody safe. So we no longer need the light tower on a day-to-day when the train does run. So that was a home run. Thank you, dude. Thank you to Rick and KDT for getting that done. Thank you to Angelo Rotundo for doing all he does with, he knows somebody that's from the North Pole and he makes the call. And he's always there for us, city stuff, and always willing to call the big guy for us. Next thing, I wanted to thank Heather Rutledge. We collaborated on Lake Helen Night, and that was a huge success. We held that on December 7th, and our purpose of it was to raise the money for the city so we could put more city decorations up on the city properties. And so we did that December 7th. We had 335 riders that night that came out, and we raised $2,555. So a little over $2,500 was raised that night. So we did set a cap of $3,000 that you guys, obviously if I brought in 10 grand, you were going to give us 10 grand, so you guys set a cap at 3. We were pretty close. I would like maybe you guys to maybe find it in your hearts, being it's Christmas, to maybe we can make that difference up. We're about $450 short of making our $3,000 quota, and then obviously that would jump to 6, and then we have some money to work with in the future for more decorations, and which would be pretty cool. There was a lot of money. People that came to the train to ride that night obviously donated money to the bucket, but there was a lot of people that saw me at home tour. There was a lot of people that saw me that night and saw me out in just the public and gave me money. They even gave some money to my wife for that, and they didn't want to ride the train. They just wanted to put it towards the cost. So that was very, very nice of a lot of people. Our vendors that were down there, they kind of got together. They put some money together, gave us over $100 for the cause. Popcorn Joe, my good friend Joe Deck, where you at? There he is.
Popcorn Joe.
Popcorn Joe. He donated that night. He was open, had cocoa, popcorn. He ran the same game I did. Didn't save money, just put it in the bucket. Donations, donations, donations. He raised over $158 that night too. Thank you, Joe. So when everything was added up, we're at $2,555, which is great. It exceeded my expectations. I figured we'd be around 2 grand, so it was a home run. I was very pleased with the outpouring of love. So let's see. So with that, I do have the check here from the Choo Choo Crew to the city of Lake Helen. I'll leave this in your hands, Roxanne. So, obviously if you guys could add to it, that'd be amazing. I would love you. And obviously it goes for a good cause. There's an envelope.
Before you move on, Alan.
Okay, before you move on, Alan, I just want to say a huge thank you for our first Light of Lake Helen night, partnered with Butler Express, the Choo Choo Crew. Amazing turnout, absolutely spectacular. It's wonderful this time of year what y'all can do. Popcorn Joe, amazing. Thank you so much. Exceeded my expectations for this, and for in the future we're going to have beautiful decorations for all of our winter holidays, and for people to come here and just see what Lake Helen is all about, and absolutely incredible. So with that, I would like to get us to the cap of 3,000, whatever the difference is. I think it's $445. I'd like to get us to our goal there. So I'm personally pledging the difference for that. And thank you so much for all of your efforts. I know it's a tremendous effort.
It's all for the kids. It's all about the kids. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. It's much appreciated. So the light contest. So light contest 2023, we had 17 entries this year. And when we ran, like Vernon said, we had 45 judges on the train that night. The weather was good. It's a little cool, but perfect. Put you in the spirit. As I drive around every night with the train, I see a lot of houses that are amazing and should be on the contest, but they're not. But that's neither here nor there. But very contest worthy. But the mayor was there. Lynn was there that night. Thank you for your support. It's always good to see you guys out there supporting us on the train that night. Ex-Commissioner Frasco was there. Thank you for her support too. Obviously there's many citizens too, but it's always good to see you guys behind us. It's very encouraging. Fun was had pretty much by all. We had a good time. It took us like an hour and a half. So I'm ready, if you guys are ready. I believe the first award, they're not here tonight, so I'll do them first. It is the Pelosi family, which owns Gas Plumbing Services. They're at 219 West Ohio. They were the winners of the Inflatables Award. So he called me just about an hour ago, said he couldn't make it, and I told him no worries, I would take care of it for him and get it to him. So his prize is in here. I put some train tickets in here for him and his family. Next award would be the Griswold Award. Tara and Dusty Myers. Where you guys at? There they are. Come on down. These are the folks that live all the way west side, at like between New York and what's that, Jennings? Yes. So they've done a great job. We love it. Who's this guy?
This is my friend Austin.
Hi, Austin. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. You guys did a great job. I know you fought a little bit of electrical issues. You're ready to probably burn the house down, aren't you?
No. We almost did.
So 310 Goodwin Street. The Myers family, there you go guys. Again, there's your prize in there. Some train tickets for you guys. We gonna take a picture? Stage? So there's your sign. I'll come by. I got a pipe that slides under easy. It's a little, because that's obviously hard to mount or whatever. So I'll come by and help you with that. I didn't think you wanted pipes in. Thank you guys. Keep the sign. I'll be back to get it next year, so don't throw it away. They've done a great job. Go by and check it out. A lot of hard work there. I appreciate the work and the Christmas spirit spreads on. So, the Gill family, Laura and Marcia, come on down. This here, these folks live on Lake Pearl. 312 Lake Pearl, I'm sure you've seen it. Done a wonderful job with the Angels. It kind of gets a little bigger every year. It looks awesome. People are very impressed by it. Kind of the real reason for the season kind of thing. And I can get behind that, so. Marcia Dickinson, Laura Gill, sorry. Let's see. That's the one you want. There it is. All right, thank you again. We appreciate your love. Let's see, this is yours. Thank you, Marcia. All right, last but not least, kind of like our ride, right, the other night? Yeah, that was my wrong, that's my bad. All right, Smith family. Who's gonna accept this award? We got Gunnar coming down? Come on, Gunnar. He did do all the work. All right. Ready? Ready. Obviously, the address is 272 West New York. It's Ricky and Peggy's house right there. Thank you guys, but their son and their grandson here, Ralph Gunner, kind of takes care of the light work for them, right? And we appreciate that. You guys climb him on the roof. Here's the money, don't let Dad have that. All right, and I'll take care of the inflatable one, but that's it for everybody. Again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. This is a lot of work, but it's worth it because you guys make it that way, and we appreciate your support, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Alan.
That's right.
The interesting thing about that event is that Alan knows everybody on that route. He got off the train, every stop we made, and hugged and just congratulated people. And, you know, it's the spirit of Lake Helen that makes Lake Helen Lake Helen. You can't do this anyplace else. So again, I had to confess to Alan, don't take this the wrong way. I've always liked Alan, but now I'm kind of crushing on him. So.
I love you too, Vernon. I love you too. One quick note. It means a lot to me to recognize him. He comes all the way from up north. It's Mr. Butler's son, Mike. He's here tonight. The family trusted me with this blessing and the tradition, and I thank you for coming and looking over my shoulder. I know you know I got this, but it means a lot that you're here. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
And again, earlier today we had our prospective candidates. The Butler train took them around Lake Helen, and they got to see firsthand why we love Lake Helen. We got to see the city from the back of the train. Now, how many times have we been able to see that? So I really appreciate it to Alan. He just did that out of the goodness of his heart. And the people that are around Alan, it's infectious. Whatever he has, it keeps people motivated. And that's what we need, to motivate one another, encourage one another, to be unified as a community. So again, people like that, we cannot really thank them enough. So I will do the best I can as the mayor to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Consent agenda. The minutes of the meeting. Copy 5. Minutes of the meeting. You as the commission review the minutes of the meeting?
You've already approved those.
Oh, you already? Okay, I see. I read it both times. Okay. Pay the bills? Done that as well. Didn't pay the bills? Okay, that's what we didn't do. Do we have any comments on the bills?
I see that we paid the Johnsons a total of $2,550 between the two of them. So can somebody tell me what this was for?
That is for doing, let me back up a little bit. When we go for grants, particularly CDBG grants, it's necessary to do surveys of the community, a certain area, geographic area, determine the number of individuals, the income level of the individuals, the number of people per family, and all of that has to be transmitted and sent into the CDBG office in a particular form. And so we have done that, and they're the ones that I traditionally call on because they do an excellent job.
Is it true that we missed the deadline to submit that report?
Well, they said we did, yes. They would not accept for Melissa Park 2. There are 2 grants for Melissa Park. Melissa Park 1 is currently under construction. Melissa Park 2, we were about to start. They said we could not use the same survey, even though it was applied for just 1 year later, for 2 that we used for 1. So we had to go back out, resurvey the thing all over again, do that. We have that information, but they did say their requirements from the federal government said we were too late in submitting it, and we'd have to reapply for it this year.
So we paid them $25.50 and we didn't use it.
Now, that was for a whole bunch of work, not just that.
I know we paid them money for other stuff.
Oh, we have.
But that was separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for things. While we're talking about Melissa Park,
While we're on the subject.
while we're on the subject, is it true that we did not require a bond from that company to put that playground in?
A bid bond?
No.
A construction
Yes.
bond?
Performance bond?
The performance bond is already how we did, yes.
We did.
Yes. And right now, they're having difficulty with their supplier.
So we have a copy of that bond at City Hall, then, right?
We should have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, I will check tomorrow.
Y'all go too.
Good.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. Mayor, point of discussion. Oddly enough, Commissioner Bishop and I have picked up on the same people, Sharon Johnson, and then there's also a Tremaine Johnson.
Sharon,
That's her husband.
yes, that's what I like.
Okay. And you said that you choose them because they're good at what they do?
They're reliable, they're prompt, they're efficient, they do exactly what is necessary in terms of how the information must be reported to CDBG or FEMA. We've used them for FEMA as well as that. They were inspectors during FEMA, they were inspectors during the removal of the hanging branches. They did a whole bunch of work on the FEMA project. That's why I said some of that is probably related to FEMA that was mentioned, 4,500.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I'm carrying my discussion just in a different direction. They're listed under contracted services.
Right.
Are they contractors? Do they have a business license? Do we post or put up bids for these positions, or we just?
No, those are 2 individuals we simply call on to do work on a very random basis. They've only worked on 2 major projects, FEMA and this particular one.
So would it not be fair to say, though, that we could put it out for bid or post these positions? I mean,
Well,
you call on them because they're reliable, but there might be more reliable people out there as
if
well.
we put it out for bid, I would suggest we do it on an annual basis and as needed, as opposed to anything else, because we simply call them when we need them, and we have specific requirements, they fulfill those requirements, and they're not paid for anything else beyond that.
Do they have a business license?
No, they're just citizens.
What if they got hurt on the job? Who would be responsible? The city?
I don't know. No.
They would not be? Why not?
They're not employees.
I'm sorry?
They're not employees. They're
Not employees.
But if they don't have a business license, then,
That doesn't make the city liable.
okay. I just think that, as I said in my first remarks, that when we hire people like this, it should be fair. And I think that we should post the positions. We should put it out for bid. Yearly's fine with me. If you've got someone that you think does a great job, then pull them in on an as-needed basis. But we've got a team here that's pulled in some money. And it's only because they're just being chosen.
They originally came to us during Hurricane Ian. They were inspectors for the cleanup of that work, and they were so impressive, we did use them additionally in Ian and then in CBG. They were a proven entity. We had inspectors that quite frankly weren't so good, and we didn't call them back.
Well, I would like for us to just kind of rethink how we bring people.
They will probably fall under our purchasing guideline, you know, and so depending on the dollar amount that is expended would determine how we actually go through the process of selecting. And it may not be a bid, because I'll have to look to see, what I can't remember off the top of my head, it might have to be over $10,000 annually to require us to go out for formal bid.
Okay, I'll take a look at that section.
Thank you. So, do I have a motion in the bills?
I'll make a motion to accept the bills.
Okay, Sherman made the motion, I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Bishop, second by Commissioner Eckert. Do you have a vote? Zone 1?
Yes.
Zone 2?
Yes.
Zone 3?
Yes.
Zone 4? And I bid yes. Motion approved. Old business. You want to speak to this, Lee? Resolution 20.
Yes, resolution 2023-11 under new business. It's a resolution approving a drinking water system asset management fiscal sustainability report produced by the Florida Rural Water Association, of which the city is a member. This particular report is required by the state revolving fund process for loan applications for our water improvements that we are now applying for. And basically, the SRF operates as any bank would in the commercial sphere. They want to know that you have the resources to pay back the loan, because it is a loan. We have to pay back approximately 60% of it. 40% of it is forgivable, but the 60% we do have to pay back. They want to know we have the resources, the system that will produce the revenue is in substantially competent, fair condition, so that it can produce the revenue, et cetera, et cetera. So they required this report, and the Florida Rural Water Association does produce reports like this. It does not cost the city anything. It's a service we get because of our $500 a year contribution, which I think is a requirement. And you've seen the report, 61 pages, very thorough, and they spent 3 days in the city going through our entire water system, and they have produced the report. It does meet the requirements. It has to be adopted by a resolution, and it will be included in the packet going to the state SRF program. I would, Mayor, you're looking through, I would say one thing. It does have requirements that we do certain maintenance functions and upgrades. Nothing that we would not ordinarily do in the normal course of business, but I would just emphasize the fact that when we are adopting the resolution and the report, we're making a commitment to keep our water system in good shape. I'm not saying we would ever not do that, but it does have that requirement. So in the future, it's something for us to keep in mind for budgetary purposes to keep our water system in good shape.
Yeah. I'd like to see that we send a copy of the hydrants report section. I'd like to see that we send a copy of the hydrants report section to the county fire services so that they can update on their computers the status of the hydrants for response purposes, so they know if they need to call extra equipment or not.
Okay.
But you may have to take the hydrant numbers and add the location address for the hydrant, not just the number.
All right. All right.
Any more comments? Do I have a motion to accept this?
I make the motion.
Motion by President Eckert, second by Antonada. We have a vote, call by vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved and so passed. Commissioner Kelly, Preston, I see you have down in 5K. Was that the 5K run?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was one of the notes. Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought it was one of the numbered articles. No, I see. You just have 5K. All right. That's what I was looking for. 11. Okay. Thank you. Okay. We got here. Acceptance of the county proposal, McKenzie Stormwater Repairs. Stormwater pipe on McKenzie Road has been failing for some time now. Staff has advertised for repairs and received only one bid from the commission, which the commission rejected. The Public Works Director, Rick Mullins, reached out to the county for assistance and received a quote for $40,673.90, which is significantly below the original bid of $95,000. So the staff recommends the approval of this work for the quoted price. Any comments? In simplification of it, Rick Mullins was able to get more than $50,000 of savings to get this job done. And the recommendation is that staff feel that they feel that we should approve this. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and second. Do we have a vote? All in favor? Aye. No opposed? And so moved and passed. C, repair the sidewalks of the woods. That's the one that was tabled. Both of these were tabled as a group. Yep. Approval of the contract with Central Systemic, this is letter E. Approval of the contract with Central Florida Bobcat. And after Hurricane Ian, a portion of the debris cleanup was performed by Central Florida Bobcat. The CFD services include the removal of hangers and leaners, potentially dangerous debris still on trees or those being supported only by another tree that could fall at any time. The contract for approval is retroactive to the time of the disaster and follows all county provisions and meets all FEMA requirements and provides that the cities piggyback on the existing county contracts. The execution of this contract is required by FEMA to show that we have followed all FEMA requirements. Any comments on this?
I personally do not feel comfortable approving a contract 1 year after it was completed and paid. I feel this is just rewarding bad behavior. We need to start following our own rules and policies and stop operating by the seat of our pants. That contract should have been done properly.
The commission did approve the contract, or it was presented to you, you approved it. FEMA did not like the fact it's only in the minutes. They wanted a hard copy instead of producing a hard copy for them. But it's no different than what you already approved a year ago. FEMA's fun to work with, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, point of discussion on this contract. This is the second contract. Scratch that.
Quite right. Okay. Is there a motion on that particular? Motion and second. Do we have it?
Make a motion that we accept the contract as presented.
Commissioner Rutledge on motion, second. Is there no second? Motion dies without second. Appointment of a city member to the Police Pension Board. The Police Pension Board oversees the city's pension plan for members of the police department. The board consists of 5 members, 2 selected by the members, 2 selected by the city commission, and 1 selected by the board itself. With the election of Mayor Burton, there is now a city member vacancy. Chief Mullins is recommending that Steve Flynn, who has served on both the pension board and in the past has been a city commissioner. Do I have a motion or a comment?
I make a motion, we accept Steve Flynn on the pension board.
Motion. Motion by Commissioner Eckert, second by Commissioner Bishop. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it, no opposed. Moving down to G, approval of the bid to refurbish the water tower to enable the installation of the water meter, reading receiver, and transmitter. The city's new water meter will read each meter each day via a transmitter and will receive and receiver that must be installed somewhere in the city. The location of the electronics is flexible, but the use of the water tower is the least costly installation location. The required work will include refurbishing the ladder, circular porch, and this work, which is highly specialized. The Public Works Director will present costs next week from our existing maintenance contractor. The costs are expected to exceed staff authority.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, we do not yet have those costs. They were scheduled to come in this week, so we can't ask you to approve something we don't have. But let me give you a little more background on it. The new meter reading system, as it indicates, will operate through a receiver and transmitter that really we can place anywhere within the community. We did look at the water tower originally. There was some question as to the security of it. But we did then, when we got the product approved by the commission, look more closely at the water tower. It was inspected by a firm that we have under contract, and they said we need to do certain things, structural improvements, make it safe. They're relatively minor, considering the cost of a brand new tower. They said they could get to it in early January. They can't even give us a price until that time. It won't hold up the installation of the whole system, but it will be done concurrent with that. We expect the cost to be about $30,000 to put in a new ladder, a new walkway around the tower, and to paint the features that are to be constructed part of the contract. It does open up the door for you to consider a refurbishment of the entire water tower. Once this work is completed, it'll be structurally sound to allow painting crews to go up there to repaint the tower. It hasn't been repainted in, I understand, approximately 20 years, so it certainly is in need of it. But this work is going to be done from the water fund for the purposes of the transmitter and receiver. But the work that then would be added on for painting would be under a general fund expenditure. We don't have a price for that, but it does give us the opportunity, as I said, to take this one step further if you want to. All of that will be available to you in January. So this particular item is information only at this point, because we really don't have the numbers to back up for you to approve.
Any comments?
How's the appearance of the water tower going to change with the receiver and transmitter on it?
It won't. The tower will be, the stairway will be reconstructed, the walkway will be reconstructed. Those features will be painted. Other than that, the tower will look exactly the same. But what I was trying to say is that once that's completed, you will then have the opportunity to be able to have somebody go up on the tower and do the painting, if you wish, as a separate project, and knowing the structure of the tower is safe.
Yeah, I understand That's
Yeah,
what I have concern about.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. The antenna is not large, I would say probably 5 feet. It would be installed on the back, as you looked at it from Lakeview, it would be installed on the back, protruding above the water tower, painted the same color as it. You really shouldn't see it. The transmitter will not be, you know, a visible option on the tower itself, so it'll be fairly well disguised.
Rick, did you want to have something to say?
Yes, yeah. Along with Lee's saying there, it's Suez is our contractor that does our hydro tanks right now. We have a maintenance contract with them. And they're gonna come back and give us the same addendum to repair it, and also an addendum to put it on a maintenance program to forever take care of it. So you'll be able to have it just like our hydro tanks. They'll paint it, they'll maintain it, so the tower will virtually stay there as long as you want it. And it'll just be programmed in. Every year we pay just like we pay for the hydro tanks. That's what they're bringing back. They just couldn't get it done in time with the holidays. It's a lot to do, but they're gonna bring it right back, and they do our maintenance already. So it'll be a win-win for us, and also keep our tower.
Any comments? Hearing none, or is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, David. Got you, brother. Thank you, brother. Towers is I have a card here for, this is Ron.
I'd like to hear what you're going to say first.
Okay, I just want to make sure this is what we're talking about. This is the updated agreement with Ron, with Bobby Morales, design consultant with the Historic Preservation Board. Mr. Bobby Morales did work for the city as a consultant on the Historical Preservation Board for the last 2 years. His agreement is attached. He has asked the city to consider his request to increase his current contract fees accordingly. That's in our draft. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, are you going to finish and say how much he's asking for?
I'll let you give that report. If it's something...
It's not my report, it's your report.
Yes.
It's going to be my comment.
Okay, fine.
That's your report.
All right. Is there any comments from the commission? Yes. I see that.
I think I got your information. Yeah, he's going from $90 to $110 an hour to $120 an hour for inspections, reviews, COA prep for the historic board and city commission, communication with city staff and applicants. He's going to $135 an hour for the historic board and commission in-person meetings. The existing fee is $125 an hour. And it would be effective January 1st of 24. And with the inflation and everything, it's all within line of the inflation.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Ron Parrott, 451 West Michigan Avenue, Lincoln. This is absurd. You talk about inflation. If the man can't make it on $90 an hour, there's a problem. He needs to adjust his living style. We're paying him to be in these meetings. He wants to be paid at $135 an hour to be in a meeting. We're paying him $2,300 this last budget, not budget, but the bills to be paid. We're approving to the historic board 3 fences, 2 pools, a shed. We don't need him every month on our budget to take care of these little items. You have a historic board that has a planning book, a guidebook. They're capable people. Why are we paying extra money every month to get a pool approved, get a fence approved? If you got a big project, bring them in by all means. But we've been doing it for years, now why can't we start saving our money? That's where I'm at.
Comment?
I may not know what I'm speaking about here, but isn't his pay kind of like pass-through pay, like we get that money collected and then we pay him that way, so it doesn't actually come?
Yeah, the applicants do pay a fee to go before the architecture review board.
So if we didn't pay him, would they still pay that fee?
Yes,
And then money would stay with the
yes,
city?
because it's for both his services and staff services. I will say, we are very sensitive to the comments, and we have, with your understanding, we do not intend to invite Mr. Morales to any commission meeting where there is not unless there's a vote in opposition to an applicant, I'm trying to say, and not saying, well. So if it is a routine transmittal through from the HPB to the commission, we would not invite Mr. Morales, and that is a fair share of his monthly fee. He has to do his transportation, his presence here, for what really are basically routine, usually consent agenda type votes. So with your understanding, that's how we'll operate in the future, and that's to save some money. But you're right, all of it is a pass-through situation.
So, just to clarify, the fees that he gets are fees that have been already, not his fees, the salaries that he's getting is fees that have been billed to the prospective property owner.
When you take out a building permit, you do pay a fee to the city for architecture review services, yes. And in some cases, they're doing a large remodel or a major single-family home. Those costs probably don't cover the cost of the service. There are others that more than make up for that. So we do. This doesn't really come out of the general fund. It comes out of the applicants going to the HPB.
Does this increase affect the citizens, what they're paying?
No, we're not proposing to increase the citizen fees because we're going to cut back on the expenses. With your understanding, not to invite them to the commission.
So the fees will remain the same, it's just that his portion of it will increase. And it's coming out of money that's already in the budget?
Correct.
I have a question, Mr. Perry. You mentioned that PLDRC, that the members on that board could go ahead and approve some of these things that Mr. Morales is doing already, like putting in a pool or fencing or whatever.
We have qualified people on that board, we have a builder on that board, and why they can't look at a plan and tell us it falls inside their pattern book, and it would be nice for the city, then I just don't see why we need to go the extra mile.
Do they have their degrees in design consultancy?
For a swimming pool, for a fence, probably not. I'm sure a builder does, they have construction license.
Thank you.
My question would be, how did Mr. Morales come to the city? Did we seek him out, or was it something that he applied for? How did we get it?
Combination. We did have what you call Ariel, who was our consultant when I arrived. Just had been for some years prior to that. She's actually the author of the pattern book that we have.
She's in the back,
Pardon me?
Ariel is in the back.
Oh, hello, Ariel. Anyway, so when Ariel asked to leave that position, she recommended an individual. We did advertise, as I recall, for others, but by far Mr. Morales was the choice of the HPB and Ariel. And as I will tell you, he has served the city well. There is a valid thought that perhaps swimming pools and fences are not as critical, particularly swimming pools, if they don't have a canopy over them. They're basically in ground, but fences, you can't have a discussion on fences being architectural, but the majority of his work deals with single-family homes and single-family home additions. And as I tell you, the HPB is really assisted by Mr. Morales and his perspective and his design capabilities. Perhaps Ariel would like to back that up, because I know she's a strong proponent of Mr. Morales as well. But I'm not expert to speak, so it'd be unfair to do that.
Is that it?
Okay, my last question is, could we not move the quasi-judicial hearing to earlier in the meeting to cut down on the length of time that Mr. Morales spends at our meetings when he is needed?
We could. He does charge portal, however, so there is a built-in fee of each evening for transportation to and from. He also does charge for preparation prior to the meeting. And as I indicated, unless there's a controversy with an application, we don't intend to have him do any of those things. And that would be a substantial savings. It's a substantial part of what he charges. His actual work with the clients are really covered by the fees that we do charge the client in the building permit situation. It's when you come to the controversial discussions before the commission, the back and forth, and look at it again. And he's as Ariel was too. Both have been very good at resolving issues of architectural compatibility in the city to maintain our historic appearance. But that kind of work may be expensive to some on an individual basis, but for the benefit of the community, I think it will pay dividends for many, many years to come.
I see Mr. Morales. Is that you with the mask on? I didn't recognize you.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry.
back there too?
Yes, he's back there too.
I hope he's not charging us for that.
Would you like to have anything to say? Please come forward and state your name.
Bobby Morales, the city's design consultant. And thank you for allowing me to come up, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I appreciate all the comments that have been made, and the citizen who's expressed concern. This would be his second time. I think a couple of years ago he expressed similar concerns. And there are things I agree with his concerns. I try to minimize my time when it comes to pools and fences. I never believed I should be involved, so I try to cut through those really quick. I spend the majority of my time in consulting and assisting the applicants before they even put an application in, and once they become an applicant, in helping them get along through the process, shorten the process, make it as easy as possible to get through the whole HPP procedure and city commission procedure. I'll be honest with you, my senior staff in my firm, they charge me out at $200 an hour to do work. They ask me every year whether I should just let this go, because it's much lower in rate than what I'm charged out to design the houses. But I have a passion for this, and I'm always able to justify and do it. So my rate is much cheaper here. I understand that it is high for a city, and I'm sensitive to citizens' tax concerns. It's tough enough in these critical days trying to make a living. But I'll continue to work hard if the citizens want me to. I hope that I see members here from the HPV. I hope they've been pleased with my work. And I'll work until you all say no more. Thank you for the opportunity.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you know the members of the board?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Are there any members of the board that, as was expressed, that have the wherewithal or the background to do what you're doing? To your knowledge.
I'm a modest man, but I can confidently say no. I'm an expert in what I do. I've been 45 years in the architectural in the architecture field and 30 years as a Class A general contractor. So I can put on design hat and builder hat. And my specialty is traditional and classical architecture, which is why Ariel recommended me. Ariel used to work for me, and I'd like to think I was a mentor. And she remembered me when she decided to go and do something else. And she recommended me here. I didn't think I was going to get the job because my rates were higher than the other applicant. But the city commission and the APD selected me, and I was honored.
Thank you. Any more comments? None?
I have a card in.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
May I make one further comment?
Yes.
For any citizen that's concerned, who really do not know me and the scope of work that I do for the city, I would be happy to buy them lunch and they can shadow me through the month and see the kind of work that I do for the city. That way they can be educated on the process next time they have an objection.
Is that for the mayor and commissioners as well? I'll take it every month.
Absolutely. You pick the place.
Thank you. Ann Robinson, on that same, you want to wait to stay there, Mr. Brown? Ann?
Ann Robbins, 129 Maple Lane. I know that Mr. Perrick has brought this up several times. On tonight's agenda for the quasi-judicial hearing is 3 new pools and a fence. I don't think that there's anything historical about a pool. A pool is a hole in the ground with cement in it, to put water in it, to splash around and have fun. And I have yet to see one that's Mediterranean or Gothic or whatever historic features about it. I can see using it for new homes. But I know Mr. Perrick has brought it up several times during budget, that this part of it should be cut back. So it's up to you guys to say we don't need anything more done on anyone. Why does the pools even have to go to the historic board? I don't understand that. So maybe you can answer that question. Thank you.
Okay, let's try to explain the answer to that. And if not, well, city administrator, give us a little heads up after you finish.
I totally agree with the citizen that just came off the podium. The only concern I've seen the city express or the HPB express about a pool would be the screen geometry and whether it's compatible to the architecture that's being declared by the applicant. I will go on record and tell you I prefer not dealing with the pools and not dealing with the fences because these things are items that the planning board or the planning department / building department can handle via codes. So I will not spend the time reviewing whether it meets or conforms to any codes because it's not my job. You shouldn't be paying me for that. All I do is grab the paperwork and just pass it through to the HPB. I'm just not going to spend time on it because I don't believe I should.
Since we have 3 pools on this quasi-judicial hearing, Scott, would you like to give us a comment on that?
Well, I was going to mention to Lee, probably the reason it has to go to the Historic Preservation Board for a pool is the way our code is written. We could amend our code and exempt pools from the Historic Preservation Board review. If you're going to say it's not historical, why are we doing it? Why does someone have to pay a fee to go to the Historic Preservation Board and then come to this commission for approval? It's not a built pool. We can amend the code to do that.
So that would be the reason that it would be on this consent, on this.
Yeah, the way our code is written, it requires any structure alterations to structure to come through the Historic Preservation Board and then to this commission for a certificate of appropriateness. This isn't a state law requirement. This is a requirement that we have. We can amend the requirement and exclude certain things from having to go through the whole Historic Preservation Board process and then have to get certificate of approval. And that's what I'm kind of hearing, that not historical, why are we even reviewing it? Then why make the citizens go through and that process if it's not a historic process? If Mr. Morales says that he's not even going to review it.
What process will we need to go through to take that into consideration to make some adjustments or changes?
Just an ordinance.
Just an ordinance?
And it probably goes to the historic, I mean, I would suggest we give it to the Historic Preservation Board for their review and recommendation to this body, and then it can come back forward.
Can we make a note of that as some way that we can follow up on it? Because I don't want this to get lost in a meeting and it doesn't get addressed. I see you cooking.
I gather there's a consensus to do just that. I'll ask the city attorney to draft an ordinance. And we're going to the architectural review board is next Tuesday. I'm sure we can't have it that quickly, but maybe we can. But anyway, certainly discuss it with them.
I wasn't actually asking for a consensus. It was just a comment that I'm addressing to the attorney. If there's someone that would like to make a motion about it, if not, there's something that can be done without a motion. That would be good.
It could be a staff-initiated ordinance, but I do detect there seems to be a lack of wisdom in wanting the pools to go through the architecture review board. So if that is the consensus of the commission, we can take it to the HPB and they may agree or disagree, in which case then you'd have something to vote on.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Obviously, the pool would still have to go through the Florida Building Code review, construction review, it would still have to be built in code, it just would not go through the Historic Preservation Board review for a certificate of appropriateness.
And the screen, as you mentioned, would have to be in compliance with the design.
This all is your decision. You know, you were hearing that there are certain things people don't understand. Why do they get reviewed by our design consultant? And the reason is our code says it has to go to the Historic Preservation Board, and our design consultant gives advice to the Historic Preservation Board on all the applications that go. One way to limit what he reviews is you limit what goes to the Historic Preservation Board.
That's it.
He's only going to be reviewing what needs a certificate of appropriateness. And we could take out sheds, we could take out fences, we could take out pools, we could take out screens, and only deal with the structure of the home.
I think that is what has been requested.
Yeah, that is your decision to make.
Okay. Cookie, you did have before you want to fill out a card, Cookie? I know, you know. Yeah. We don't have a time clock, Cookie, so
I'll fill that later.
thank you.
You need me to start my stopwatch?
I know.
No, Alan Cook, 792 Oak Tree Lane. I'm on the PLRC board, and the only thing that we've had with the swimming pools is the measurement. I've done quite a few swimming pools as far as the measurement from the property or the house and everything else. That's the biggest thing we have. As far as the screen, I don't know, but I'm just saying, the only thing with the pools, we should be in the process of making sure that they're in the right place when they put them in. That's all. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could respond, I believe Cookie's on the PLDRC.
Yes.
I'm not talking about PLDRC review. That
I'm
stays the
talking
same.
about putting the pool in the right place.
Yeah.
I've already done 5 pools.
I understand. I'm not talking about taking.
No, I understand what you're
I'm talking about away from the PLDRC. We're talking about the Historic Preservation Board only.
All right, but who does these pools with do they go out and measure?
The
building department does that.
They would make, he's mentioning you're talking about the PLDRC. I think what the board that is being brought to question now is the historical board, which...
What I'm saying is somebody should guide it and make sure it's put in the right place.
Thank you.
That's all I'm saying.
Jeff, Richie?
Jeff Ritchie, 310 West Michigan. Really a question, because I think this is a great discussion. If I'm not mistaken, or I guess my question would be, are these properties, the pools, the sheds, the fences, going before HPV because these are on the gateway And does that make a difference to the commission? I think that maybe they go before HPV because they are in the gateway.
Correct.
To review the gateway standards.
That's correct.
Thank you.
So this is just the gateway card, it's not everybody that needs a pool would have to be applying for that.
I guess it could also be the historic district.
Historical district,
Outside of the gateway.
whatever the district is that requires it, it's required, and if it's not in that district and it's not required, they don't need to come here for that. Okay, that clarifies that for me anyway. Is there anyone else? Any other comments? Okay, we're now getting into the quasi-judicial.
Need to vote on the.
I'm sorry.
Need to vote on the contract motion first.
All right, that's the motion, yes. Comments, got these, I'm going off.
I make a motion we accept the new contract with Bobby Morales.
Motion on the contract, do you have a second? Second by Commissioner Bishop. Motion by Vice Mayor Eckert. Do we have a vote? Zone 1?
Yes.
Zone 2? Zone 3? Zone 4? And I vote yes. Thank you. Now we're moving into the quasi-judicial hearing. Quasi-judicial hearing, the Historic Preservation Board, at its last regular meeting, uses criteria set forth in the City of Lake Helen and the Development Code to review the complete applications for the accompanying submittals. Staff requests the City Commission execute attached certificates of appropriateness for each application. All parties shall be given the opportunity to present evidence through documentation, exhibits, testimony, or other means. All parties shall be given the opportunity to rebut evidence through cross-examination or other means. The applicant will be responsible for reporting the executed certificate of appropriateness to the Volusia County Clerk Report. Before we start, we have to ask that question: does anyone have any ex parte communications with anyone or anyone in these buildings? No? No? All says no, I say no. Start with the first building, 151 New York Boulevard, New York Avenue. I will accept that too. Can we do a motion to put them all in one package? And so we have to go individually?
No, you can, I believe the prior mayor, what they would do is if there was one that had a question, it would be pulled. And if you had how many ever remaining ones that had no questions, they all would be approved in a single vote. So you could approve all of these in a single vote, or you could approve 3 of them in a single vote, and then the other, if 2 got pulled or whatever, however you want to do it.
Are any of these being pulled?
I've only got one clerical thing. On 375 Park Street, in the title section, you've got new pool, but in the report line, the historic report line, you've got new fence. I think it might have been a clerical, supposed to be new pool in there.
Sorry, I'm not a good player.
Did you see that? So the clarification would be what?
So new pool. New pool.
A new pool, not a new fence. To make that change? Would that change? Is there anything else? Is there any other? Is there any other comments on any other locations?
Make a motion to accept the certificate of appropriateness for items 10A, B, C, D, and E.
Motion is approved. By second. Vote. Vote. Zone 1. Zone 2.
Yes.
Zone 3. Zone 4. And I vote yes. Motion approved. Yeah, there, right? Oh, great. Public forum. Public forum is where, with the yellow slips, anything that you would like to speak about, we don't have a timer here, but just keep mindful of the time, 3 minutes. So you can come up and give any comment that you'd like. In this one, I'll start with Kelly. Kelly Preston.
Kelly Preston, John Street. As we all know, the Stress Buster 5K is only 10 days away. So I just wanted to give you an update. As of today, we have 659 registered to run or walk. And that's up 84 last year on the same day. So far, we have raised $14,680 just in registration and over $10,000 in sponsors. Exactly $10,350. So we are well on our way to having a wonderful and hopefully not too cold 5K this year. So if anyone doesn't know or not familiar with it, it's December 24th, and the race starts at 8 a.m. at Lake Park. You can always go to runsignup.com/stress, and you will find the registration link. Thank you.
Point of disclosure, the weather this Saturday appears to be rain. So for those purposes, we are calling to cancel the parade, which would be at 4 o'clock on the, we'll cancel it, as a word, we will be moving it to a different date.
Next Saturday.
Thank you. Yes, we will postpone it until the next Saturday. So that would be the Saturday of the 23rd. The 24th will be the Stress Buster, which will be the race. So I think it would bring a lot of attention to the city. Very positive. Kelly, how many did you say? 900 people?
So far, right now, we have 659. Last year, we had over 800, and this year, we're expecting to get over 900.
Over 900, so 900. So 900 people running through the city of Lake Helen. I think it would be a very interesting time, as it always is. And I will be in that race as well. Any other reports today? Okay. Public forum is about to make that last point in time that you can have this. You want to speak again?
Did you see mine up there for 11? Public forum?
No. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, here it is. And Steve Miller is after him. You're at the top. Sorry.
Ron Herrick, 451 West Michigan. I got 3 little things here. Water has been brought up years ago. Our water quality, are we doing anything a little bit extra? Because the water quality is still bad. Every 2 days you got a black ring around your toilet. So that's the same water, it's going into our pipes that we're drinking from and showering from. So what are we doing to make this water a little bit better? I know we're going to change out pipes, or we flush the hydrants as much as we should. That's one question. And then the only reason I'm on this Bobby Morales, and we have a tax person on, basically on retainer. We need to save money. We need to hire a code enforcement officer, even if it's part-time. We talk about our gateway, our entrances. When I come in off of Lake Helen Osteen, I go past the scrap yard. That should not be in our city of Lake Helen. Then if I continue down the road, There's a truck stop. Why are we allowing tractor trailers to park in the downtown section of Lake Helen? This is the stuff that we need to clean up to make this city more attractive. The next one is we went ahead and tabled 9C, the sidewalks in the woods of Lake Helen. Rick Mullins told me a month ago that this was going to be brought in front of this commission. So what other information do we need to go ahead and get this approved to get the work done? So we just kind of keep on pushing stuff down the road, and we need to grab a final answer. Thank you.
I'll just ask that question. I was given a notice that this was going to be tabled. Is there anything you'd like to add to this?
The only thing I'd add is what I said earlier. The condition of the sidewalks were reviewed by a contractor that we have great confidence in, but I'm not sure of the criteria that was used with respect to the need to replace sidewalks. There's our hairline cracks in every situation, and when do they become liability hazards that need to be repaired? And I'm not confident that all of the things that we have told you earlier for 21,000 need to actually be repaired. Until so, I cannot recommend it.
Since it is tabled, it's something that will come up again, and hopefully we'll have more information about it at that point. Now we have Steve Miller, followed by Nancy Weary.
Sorry, does that work? So, Steve Miller, 290 North Lakeview Drive. I'm asking that the City Commission review and accept my application for the interview process tomorrow as it relates to the City Administrator. I've got my Series 7 and SSIE and 215 license, which require background checks at both the federal and state level. I recently completed that, so that covers all civil and also the criminal background. Happy to provide any other information as it relates to my background, but my understanding is that I can't be, or that the process, it's difficult to include me in the process because that background check has not been completed. But like I said, I'll meet whatever criteria and provide any information that you need in order to do so, and just asking to be included, pending, the results, certified results of my background check.
I guess the process when you have the public comments give the opportunity to speak. So I'm going to take this purpose or this time to sort of respond because your application was submitted. I think it was August the 10th is the date that I have on your application. We did speak, you and I spoke before this process, and I did not know that the application did not have you included. What we did when the previous commission hired the firm, they had a process that they agreed to, and on that process, it required that each one of the applicants would do a background check, and the background check looked like this. What I only have from you was your resume, and for that reason, we could not make that determination. However, we did speak to Colin because there's a fee attached to that, but because there was so many members of our community and wanted to know why we could not have someone who lives in the community and served in the community, why it could not be considered. And so what he is going to do is going to do a background check for free. And it's going to be part of the process. One of the things that we've been told, we understood that out of the initial 8 applicants that were submitted, we're down to 3. And the 3 that we had earlier today, no guarantee that those 3 are going to be set. And that was one of the things that it was put forth to us, is that when we were trying to make a determination as to when Lee's contract would be ended. The contract with Lee was originally supposed to end on November the 9th, November the 8th.
December 15th.
At the meeting, I thought it was November the 8th, and it was extended to December 15th at another time. But I won't argue the point. So December 15th, which would have been tomorrow, we would not have had city administrator. The fact that what we did do was, at the time Lee was going to, this is all information basically on why we are extending his up to now. The fact that he was going to be ending on December 15th, and when we did speak to the headhunters, they said that they would not be able to give us an applicant before up until January. So rather than keep pushing it back to when he was going to be terminated, we decided, I said we, the commission decided to make his termination date 10 days after the hiring of a city administrator, so that we didn't have to keep going back and forth. So what my point is that there may be some time left, that if these three are not accepted, or if something happens, they withdraw or whatever, your application, by that time you will have your application, and we will also have your background check, which at some point in the future, if necessary, you would already have that. So that's the best we can do right now, because we can't go backwards. And as far as, I did get a number of calls, the support that came out on your behalf, I will, duly noted, duly acknowledged it. But the process was determined even before this commission was seated as to who was going to be doing the processing, who was going to do the applicant background check, and they agreed, I say they agreed to that particular process, and we are basically bound by that agreement up until now.
Yeah, I'm just asking, to be interviewed pending the results of that background check. I'm comfortable on my background check. Like I said, I'll provide you, I'll run my credit report tomorrow, you can have the full credit report. You have my background check that was done at the federal and state level. No criminal, no civil litigation. I've got 4 posts on Facebook. I'm not a social media person, so there's not a lot out there, related to those type of things. So, while I understand what you're saying, I'm also saying, let's, provide me the opportunity to interview tomorrow, pending the results of that. And, if, you can decide how to do it however you want to, but at least that piece will be out of the way. That's my question, what I'm asking.
You're presenting this question to the commission, and the commission will either have to make a motion, have a second, and vote on it. So it's not a one-person decision.
I understand that.
And if there is any comments that would like to be made to this point?
Mr. Miller, I truly understand the disappointment of not being in the first round or second round or third round of this election. However, what I'm finding, I received 5 emails, that there wasn't a lot of support, but I don't know what the other commissioners received in supporting me. All I can say is that we had a workshop, a special meeting, where at that time it was decided that we would go with a headhunter, professionals, because in the past things haven't seemed to have gone so well. Citizens were there that day, and they too agreed to go with a professional. That's what we did. We agreed on paying $32,500 to the professionals who ran all of the background checks. They had 30 applicants. You know all of this information, but for those in the audience, they may not know it. There were 30 applicants. Not everybody made that. 30 applicants did not make it. They dropped to 17 after the 2017, there were 8. We're now down to 3. Tomorrow is the deadline for us to go ahead and do the interview and take a vote. I'm terribly sorry that you did not get in on that, but in my background, a lot of people don't get hired. They just typically get a thank you for applying. I recognize the fact that you have a passion for Lake Helen, so do I. I think you and I may have lived here just about the same amount of time, 2 years maybe. So it's not like we're from Lake Helen or that we completely understand everything about Lake Helen. In my opinion, what we need is an absolute expert city manager or a city administrator who has done this job. They know the ins and the outs. They've got the 3 applicants that we have left, I think, are plenty to choose from. Again, I'm very sorry, but we can't go back, because if we say, okay, now we're going to go ahead and add you to the list, what's going to happen the next thing? Are we setting precedents to say we're going to just keep going on and on with this process? It's got to come to an end at some time. I'm sorry. Just 1 moment. Again, I'm sorry, but we do have a guarantee from the headhunters that if we can't make a selection tomorrow, they will go out again and they will do the search again. You then also have the opportunity to apply it. Right now, where I stand, tomorrow should be the deadline. The commissioners, prior to me coming on board, prior to the mayor coming on board, all made a decision, and so did the citizens. No one stood up that day in that workshop, that special meeting, and even threw your hat in the ring. You didn't throw your hat in the ring. So I don't understand why at this late day we're now being faced with it.
No, actually, at that meeting, I did throw my hat in the ring. I said I was going to be applying, and on the 10th of August, I sent in my application, resume, cover letter, all of that. I followed that back up by sending it to all the commissioners and mayor, and have continued to, follow up on that. My problem is not that I wasn't chosen. My problem is that I was excluded from the process by the recruiting firm, and you were never provided the opportunity to even consider my resume as it relates to that. That's where my issue is at. It's not that, maybe I got passed over for a job. I mean, that happens, right? But where my issue is at was that I was excluded from the process to begin with and was never informed about it. And, all of my calls and emails to the recruiting firm, remained unanswered until the meeting the other night, whenever I found out that, I was not included in the process. That's where my issue was at, and that's why I'm asking you to include me in the process, because I was excluded from the process in the beginning.
Well, in all reality, you weren't excluded. Otherwise, there would be 20 other people here complaining that they weren't excluded either. The company chose to go down the list and vet which ones would best fit our needs, and that's where we're at now. You are in a group with the 20-something other ones that didn't make the list for the company to go further with.
Well, I'm not sure that that's true, because, if you listen to the recruiter, one of the things he talked about was his first choice was actually somebody that had no, governmental administration experience. I've got governmental, as far as experience. Now, in an administrative role from a, city administrator, no, but I do have the experience. I do have the knowledge. I do have all of that. So that's where my issue was at, was being excluded and not included or even considered.
Okay, I think we have got this clear in terms of, as Vice Mayor said, you were not excluded, you were just not chosen. There's a big difference there. So we cannot go back now. You're not being chosen because you are a resident may even be giving you even more consideration by the fact that we're actually going to ask them to give us a report. So we can't beat this horse to death. You at this point now, you are not in the original group of people. And if we go any further, then at that point, if it does come back up, then we will definitely include it, consider your application. But you were not excluded. Let me give you that from the bottom of my heart to you. This was not an exclusion. This is what it means when you don't get chosen. And in government, and in business, and anything else, if you have to ask for an application, you're asking someone to consider you. And I think at this point, we can put this to bed at this moment and go on from here. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. We have one more. Mr. Hammond, I think that's where you come up. Joe?
Joe Hammond, 155 North Lakeview Drive. Is this on?
Yes.
I think we have gone through 6 city administrators. They were done, 5, okay, they were done by professionals. What has that got us? Not a damn thing. Because most of them jump from one city to the next city to the next city. They're always in the move. I guarantee our city administrator and any of these other guys have done this more than one time. So in my opinion, you should be looking at home.
I wanted to follow up on Mr. Miller's comments. I personally have received, in one form or another, 14 people from the community, their support for Mr. Miller and his consideration before us. They're not asking that we hire him outright. They're asking that we consider a professional in our neighborhood, in our community that has our best interests at heart. And they want us to put our eyes on that application and do the interview process. For that reason, I've already expressed my opinion, sorry, the word escaped me, my opinion to the recruiter on this earlier today via email formally, but I'm bringing it here for discussion. I can see the way the discussion is going, and I appreciate the comments that were made. I originally was in that same camp. I do really find value in the fact that we have hired a professional recruiter and their expertise on this matter. But I also know that I'm elected to this position by all of the people here and all of the people in the city, and they're telling me that this is what they want. So for that reason, I would like Mr. Miller's application to be considered, and I would like to do a formal interview.
So, can you tell me what percentage of the citizens 14 people makes?
Oh, it's a very small percentage. But if we're talking about the percentage, I would say this is a greater percentage of people that have reached out on this topic than other topics of interest. So for me, the involvement has been higher. And that's why I made mention of that.
Okay, well, my take on it is, we paid $32,000 for them to do this, and we are not gonna take their advice. Doesn't make any sense to me, we must be out $32,000. They chose not to include him for a reason. They're the experts, not us.
Obviously, I'm new to this. Commissioner, you mentioned that the city elected you, which they elected all of us to do the job, to do right thing, to follow professional advice. If we don't have it, we didn't have it. It's my understanding that it was never really professionals, but a group of, I guess, CAs in the past got together. I'm not sure about that. But one thing that is concerning to me is that we need to put the best person with the experience, and we do have applicants here with 25 years of experience in the public sector. We have 13 years experience. Mr. Miller does not have that public background. Not to say that his background's not good. We just had a gentleman stand up and say, every 2 years, every 2 years. Well, Mr. Miller himself has moved jobs in 2 years. I've done the same thing. But we're looking for someone with the experience, walk in and help our citizens. That's my spirit. And I think we need to take, you were at the meeting when the citizens all agreed to go with the professional.
We didn't all agree.
I would like to make a rebuttal. Sorry, just make comments from the audience, please, so we don't have, if I could.
Okay, so they didn't all agree, the majority.
No, special comment as far as,
Mr. Miller, would you let us?
I'm going back up here.
So, you're already at the podium, sir.
Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, before you start speaking.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We are trying to move this process along.
Just very concise, I'm just going to respond to that one.
Because there's someone waiting to speak as well. She has issues before you, but I'll let you go ahead and speak.
Okay. So, just on the comment as far as moving job to job, I was working at accounting firms. One of the things that you'll find is that they all merge. So a lot of those moves were just firms merging from one firm to another firm to another firm. And then whenever I left the last accounting firm, what I did is I did so with the support of the accounting firm I was working with and provided them 50% equity in the company that I started up. So, if you look at my history, it's really not moving from job to job, it's just being in companies that merge from company to company. That was my only response.
Thank you. Let me just
My statement is not anything to do with any of this.
one of the things that I did do is that I did contact Colin to get, I actually asked him, did he see the application? Because the people that did contact me and my limited amount of the ability to respond on on his personal information, that was basically information that was reviewed by the headhunter. He told me why he made the decision that he did. This was information that I could not divulge to people who were calling me and asking me why he wasn't considered. It was just the process. The process does require us to be both studious and to be diligent, to do due diligence. The due diligence would not have been fair to Steve to give out his personal information, but the reason that he didn't get considered was A, B, C, or D. That was not the process. So we're now moving forward in this process, and we do understand that this process can be somewhat tedious. And I will just say this about the moving every 2 years of the city administrators. It's been my experience, because I've sat on this board for every single city administrator that the city has had, the failings of the city administrator rest right here, the commission. Because the city administrators serve at the pleasure of the commission. If we don't do our job, they can't do their job. So the responsibility should start here. And our city administrators, I give them all the credit in the world to be able to take the kind of stuff that they take. But the bottom line is, we as a city commission are the ones that make the decisions. And if he's not credible, he's not reasonable, then we get rid of him. And if that makes their job a little bit uncomfortable, then so be it. But we should be, as a commission, Cookie, I think that's to me, so I'm not called that. We should be able to make that decision and to be able to keep the cities responsible, that hold us responsible. Because the city holds us responsible for the things that the city commission, city administrators don't do or do. So that's my little stump speech, and I'm sorry to have taken that time. Nancy, you want to speak?
I do. Nancy Weary, 435 West Delaware. I am a resident in the Woods, and for the past 15, 16 months, I have discussed with the commissions about the stormwater assessment that we have received. There was discussion that we would be credited. We have not been, and we were assessed. All of us were. We do have stormwater. I know some of you are new to this conversation. We have stormwater. We are the only place in the city that does have stormwater. The consensus last year, or last commission, I should say, was we would receive a credit. I have inquired about it, and I get nowhere. So I'm speaking on behalf of our neighborhood who has stormwater. We not only pay for it in the initial purchase of our homes, we pay for it through our dues, which have recently been raised dramatically, and we were also assessed with this. So we need somebody to come up, step up, and take care of this and see that we get our credit back.
Just for clarification, when she said we, she was speaking about the Woods of the county?
Yes.
Which is a HOA, subdivision, and they make their own rules in terms of the HOAs.
It has nothing to do with this assessment. This assessment was done by the city.
No, I'm just saying that the HOA does have control over certain things.
Certain.
Yeah, we had a discussion. I'd have to go back and pull up the audios and everything on to find out exactly what was said. Because they also pay stormwater fees and their HOA fees, and we had discussion about them paying the difference between their fees that they pay and what the city charges.
Thank you. Any other comments? No. You want to take a 5-minute break?
I just wanted to make note that I did email the city administrator regarding this on November 14th, and I was trying to pull it up to see if there was an update for you. Just to refresh my memory, I apologize. But it looks like the stormwater lawyer was working on getting existing credits from other jurisdictions. Has there been an update on that, or why do we not yet have that information?
We do have those, the other offsetting rates from other cities. And it depends on, we need to basically sit down with a particular attorney, city attorney, and go over what would be appropriate in terms of how much of the fee that is paid could be offset by what the HOA takes care of themselves. But given the fact most of the assessment of the city is for the construction of a comprehensive plan, pay for the construction costs, there will be very little, I think, offset against what the HOA currently has, which are operation costs. But I don't mean to cover the discussion anyway. It really has to be undertaken probably by my successor and brought before the commission. There is also some misunderstanding too. Assessments can be adjusted by the city anytime throughout the year. We have that power and authority, and any credits would be applied, could be applied throughout the year. It's just not a one-time deal. It's a one-time deal for us to establish them, but we can make adjustments throughout the year. So the fact we're taking extra time doesn't penalize the resident. They could, if you so choose, to make an adjustment, it could be made retroactive.
Okay, so do we have an estimated date on when we can expect the analysis on that in the credit numbers? Did I misunderstand the information?
No, you did not. I think it's appropriate for the new administrator, when he comes on board, to be able to tackle that process.
But is it something that's actively being worked on currently? by the-
We have materials necessary, we just need to sit down and go through them. Yes.
I see, okay.
Moving right along.
Mayor, if I could have one.
Yes, please.
I pointed it out when we did the assessment. The In the Woods HOA documents and covenants and restrictions, it says they will not receive any credit on taxes for the fact that they maintain their own stormwater system. Now, the unique thing here is talking assessment, not taxes. But if you look at the overall intent, is that the Woods were not supposed to receive any credit for the fact that they do maintain their own stormwater system. And those are in the documents that are filed of record, but it does specifically refer to taxes. And so that's one question I have for our consulting attorney. How does that fit into our ability to do that? Because their legal documents say they're not entitled.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I guess we are moving to the commission reports by zone. I have Commissioner Nanada, which is discuss the youth recognition program.
I have spoken to our city administrator and then asked to bring this to the citizens about supporting the youth in our city. We seem to support youth outside of the city. We donate money outside of the city. And I have recently heard of a young man, I happened to know his mother, but didn't know her son was such a great young gentleman. This young man plays baseball. He's still in high school. He has been given a full ride to Duke University. In addition to that, he is playing on the farm group. The reason, of course, he got a full ride to Duke was because of baseball. It cost them lots of money for him to go play and try out on the farm teams. So I'm coming before the commission to ask that we take a look at our youth, the exceptional ones. This happens to be an exceptional young man. He's ranked 1 in everything, every farm team he's played on. And I would like for us to present a plaque to him, and I make it some, I guess, flashback. I think too that we should be able to offer him at least $100. That may seem like a lot of money, but I won't right now, but if I have to, I will bring up donations that we've made to people outside of our city. And I would like for the commissioners tonight to make a motion, take a vote, and let's get a plaque made and bring this young gentleman before the city so they can congratulate him and his family for being such an outstanding young man. The man's name is Lamar Edwards Jr., and he ranks 1 in academics as well as in sports. I make a motion that we give this young man $100, present him with a plaque, and invite his family here for the January meeting.
Second. The motion be amended. Attorney?
You know, it's going to seem small and petty, but there's a provision in our Constitution that you cannot use taxpayer money for the benefit of an entity. And you can't use taxpayer dollars for private benefit. So if we're going to set up something, we need to be careful about how we do it. If we're going to start giving citizens money for something, as I'm sure Ness is talking about, I would not do it on what this basically is an ad hoc basis. You brought it up. It really needs to be a program, and it would be better if the program was funded through donations from the public that we could then use to award these benefits, just to kind of, I'm not saying he's not deserving, but to give someone, a plaque is one thing, but to go and give someone $100, I know it sounds small, but we're taking public funds and giving it to a private person. And we don't have a program set up on how to evaluate that, who's entitled to it. It's a risky thing to get into.
We do have a lot of funds that are paid to the city that are not tax-based, and I think that's what she was looking at, those funds to be able to do. We've got people that's donated money, we've got people that had programs going that funds came in to finance other programs the city has. We're looking at the non-tax dollar money.
But I think the question is, it's public funds for private benefit. It's not limited to tax revenue. You can't use user fees for it. If we're going to do something like this, we should set up a program.
The city owes me 3 park benches that I paid for a couple of years ago and have not received yet. Take the $100 out of that.
Well, there you go. You ought to have a program set up. We don't just come up with a way that you all evaluate who's entitled to this and who's not. That's all.
Mr. Simpson, I'm going to put this back in your lap. As our city attorney, how would you go about setting up a program for this? Legally, profit, or can you write up something that says, like the city of Lake County now has a youth program? We have the Boys and Girls Club. Could we run it from underneath that?
It could be under that. It could be through something with the Creative Art Cafe and the gyms. It could be through any organization. Or through the city, but just to say, annually, we like to recognize, people do Citizens of the Year work. The cities do that. They don't get money, but they say, here's a Citizen of the Year, Corporate Citizen of the Year, and they're actually nominated by the commissioners. All does that. So, but if we come up with a process, I can type up something to say, this is what I would look at, that is what I would consider, but I'm not one of you 5, but I can gladly do that. What I look at and consider may not be the same things you look at and consider.
Okay. And I don't think that I really was saying let's give it as from our tax base, but from some of the programs that we may have, that because we do donate a lot of money. It's coming from somewhere.
It is. And basically, the city, when you spend money and you give money, we're probably giving it to an organization or entity. And when you do that, you're making a determination that there's overall net positive benefit to giving money to that organization for our community. That's what you got to find. So that's what I'm looking at is there a net positive benefit to the community, even though it's $100, and Roger's giving the donation. I'm great with people who donated money to say, I want to fund this program, I want to give a donation just to fund this program, and that money has to be earmarked for that purpose. Fine. Now we have money set aside, given to us by the public, solely for that purpose. But just to take money that we take from our general fund or our public funds to say, we're just going to give it to an individual person as an award for being a good person. I get it, it's a great idea, but I would just like to make sure we set it up legally. And we have a process.
Well, and that's why it says on the agenda, a program. Somehow I would like to be able to do this. And I will match Commissioner.
I will type up something in a program for a policy that we set up, and it can be earmarked as funds donated by members of the public for this, and the people can nominate to the commission, or the commission can come up and nominate people. And I'll outline what I think would be criteria that I would like to look for to nominate someone that's equivalent to the Citizen of the Year. That you just want to have, do you just want to do it for children, minors?
In my opinion, I think our youth is very important, and I think it would be for the youth, kids in high school or elementary school.
Well, you might as well come to high school and try to know.
Let's say
But
from
anybody under age 18.
under the age, well, I don't know. It might be someone 18, depends on when they start school, so.
You asked for it.
So if you would go ahead and do
Yes.
that, and
Yeah.
if we can, have, Mr. Mayor, you could have, the CA come up with a plan or something, I would appreciate it.
What I would also lean toward, there are a number of organizations in our communities, youth oriented. Boys and Girls Club, it is a organization, and they do have a lot of programs. There's the NAACP, there's the Martin Luther King, excuse me? There are programs that are set up to receive money from the city that can be then turned around to provide for the people. Is that correct? Like we have the Massey James.
Are you asking me?
Yes, yes. In other words, let me give it a blanket. We have the NAACP. They have different things that they do, youth programs, scholarships, and things like that. If we donate to that program for the NAACP, and the scholarships could be available for youth, doesn't have to be this individual, it could be many more individuals. It could be anybody from Lake County.
This commission makes a decision that there's a net positive public benefit to give into that organization, and that organization is willing to earmark whatever money we give to them only for the youth from Lake County, then yes, I think that'd be okay.
Okay. The other way of looking at it, because since we're mentioning this, there are other programs that, that the city has traditionally given to, like the Martin Luther King Jr.'s anniversary on January 13th. The city has provided either monies for tables that the city commission has attended, and as a result, because of their participation, the banners, because there will be a march that will be held every year, and the banners have the logos of the cities on it. Therefore, what did you say, a benefit for the city?
A net positive public benefit.
A net positive public relations benefit that would show that the city of Lake Ellen is supportive of an organization. It doesn't have to be the NAACP, it could be any other program, as long as it has a net positive advantage to the city. And because of net positive advantage could be that we get our name out in something other than something negative, that we can put our name into something that could be productive. There are many individuals in this city that have donated monies to our youth. One in particular, Miss Gloria White's granddaughter. She was granted, we brought it before, it was brought before the commission, this was 6 or 7, 8 years ago. She's now an attorney. She's a legal attorney, and as a result, Dennis Garner gave her $500, so the idea was brought up, and he wanted to contribute. He saw an opportunity, and he provided her that opportunity. So there are probably some of the best, I would say, donators has already left the meeting. But these are people that you pick up a phone call and give them a name, if they don't even have to get the credit for it, that they can be able to do it. So I think there's, and you just say that you're new to this, and that's good that you're new because you bring up new ideas, but there are some workable ideas that have been tried and true, and been able to provide opportunities for a lot of people, a lot of community. It doesn't have to be one part of the community, just the fact that the city is doing something that is an advantage to people other than people who are less fortunate. So I see Paulette, where she go? Oh, she's right there, I'm sorry. I'm not cutting you off, but I think we want to get through this meeting.
Paulette Smith, 846.
Oh, this is,
Yes, concerning this record.
okay, we're now taking your, go ahead, Paulette.
Paulette Smith, 840 West King Light Road. I don't have a problem with that, but what we should a lot of tournaments. Tournaments cost. The school sponsor the tournaments, AAU sponsor the tournaments. You can give the money to AAU to be a sponsor of that child. Instead, that way you can not be giving the money to an individual. You will be sponsoring him for that tournament. And a tournament is not cheap. A tournament is not $100, trust me, because you're gonna play 3 or 4 games in that weekend, and that's about $500 to $600. So $100, yes, that's a good idea, but if we're gonna sponsor a kid to go to a tournament, he go to a lot of tournaments. I've been following him. He go to a lot of tournaments, as well as he play on a travel team, and he played for DeLand High School. So you can make it to DeLand High, or you can make it to his AAU team. So that's the only thing I
Thank you.
want to say.
Take this under advisement, and maybe reach out to our community, to some of the other organizations and whoever would be able to use this opportunity to include something in their own.
Do you all want me to try to put something together?
That would be preferable.
Look at that, I'll share it with everybody.
Thank you. Moving right along to commissioners' reports. This is okay. Thank you. Commissioner's report by Development and then Earth. So I'm going to come back to you.
I only have one thing. I watched the county council meeting for November, and during the meeting, one of the county councilmen brought up ECHA, and his comment was, at that meeting, the gyms in Lake County are no way are they ever going to meet the deadline for what they have, where they have us on probation. And he said, I would hope that this new commission will do the right thing and pay this money back to the ECHO program. And it was kind of embarrassing. But then again, I said, well, he's right. And I agree with him 100%. So that's all.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up Arbor Day. We have Lake Helen's 2nd annual Arbor Day is going to be coming up. And so I just want to give some additional information. We did hit our goal of raising $5,000. I think we're just over that, 52 or 5,300. I have to look at the paper again. But the tree giveaway is going to be Saturday, January 20th. Florida's Arbor Day is slightly before the National Arbor Day just because our planting season is a little different. And so we'll be observing it Saturday, January 20th. You can pick up your 1 free tree per household from 9 to 11 at Gem Station. There will be a tree planting ceremony that starts at 8:45 where we do plant one of the trees in the local park there. It'll be 100 live oaks, 200 winged elm, and 75 sweet bay, which is a variation of magnolia. And I want to say a sincere thank you to our sponsors, Beery Roofing, Duke Energy, Collins Built Pools, Troy Building, Waste Pro, White House Contracting, Jeff and Debbie Ritchie, and Tree Work Now. We also have our volunteer organizations who will be helping us with anything we need that day, helping to educate, and that is the Lake Helen Garden Club, Lake Helen Lake Committee, and Gem Station for their use of the space and for the volunteers. I sincerely appreciate that. And the last order of business is that I wanted to address Mr. Parrott's comment earlier about code enforcement and already asked that it be on the January agenda. So hopefully we'll get into a much better discussion on that in January. Thank you.
And I got a couple items to talk about. While we were doing the candidate briefing meet earlier this evening, I got a text from one of my fire department lieutenant friends, he lives in Lake Helen. He said that he had heard that Volusia County is looking to move Fire Department Station 35, which is in Lake Helen, to the fairgrounds. He said he's only heard it, he hasn't seen any documentation on it. I asked our administrator, Lee, if he could leave a check in on it. He said he'll check on it. I just wanted to let the citizens know, because if this isn't true, if this is true, it would have a grave effect on our building insurance rates, since the department would be about 2 miles or so away from the city. The other reason I voted no on approving the minutes was because I didn't get a chance to review them. I didn't pick up my packet until earlier, and I was working so much on some of the other comments for some of the other issues that were coming up on the agenda. But I also feel that the approval of the minutes is a formality that is not set in concrete. This is because if somebody wants to protest something, they would need a transcript of the meeting. The transcript would give them a word-for-word documentation of the meeting with all comments included. On June 8th, I presented a motion for the city to endorse a conservation area to include the stream from Ohio Avenue to Lake Macy. When Vice Mayor Rick Basso restated the motion, he included a letter of endorsement in the motion, and I said yes, include the letter in it. The motion, including the letter, was approved unanimously by the commission. This was the letter section was not put in the written minutes, only the city endorsement part was. This was overlooked at the following meeting. A draft letter had been prepared, but the administrator said that Mayor Lane chose not to issue the letter. So tonight, I would like to reiterate the motion that the city of Lake Helen submit a letter of endorsement for the conservation area presented at the meeting on June 8th and backdated to June.
Okay, I second that.
I'm sorry. Motion moved and second. Do we have a vote? So one.
Yes.
Well, let me just, could you restate that motion?
I reiterate the motion that the city of Lake Helen submit a letter of endorsement for the conservation area presented at the meeting on June 8th and backdated to June. And Lee Evan may still have that draft available.
Okay, motion. Vote.
Yes.
Zone 1, zone 2.
Yes.
Zone 3. Zone 4. And I vote yes.
The other one, continuing on about the Forever project, which is the stream which the Forever staff is calling the Lake Helen Conservation Corridor. We had a meeting today with Nick Dunham, and I forget who the other man was that was in the meeting. They reviewed.
Brad Harbaugh.
They reviewed it, and that's where they told us they're calling it the Lake Helen Conservation Corridor. They would like to submit it in 2 phases, the first being the area between Ohio Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue, and the second being the remaining areas between Pennsylvania and Lake Macy. I asked them what we would need from the city, and they gave me 3 items. One was the status of changing the city property to conservation areas. I would like to know an update on that, if it's still in the process or what.
The land that's owned by the city cannot be developed without the commission's approval, but it doesn't carry conservation zone.
That was brought out in the meeting
It
last
could.
month. It was brought out in the meeting last month.
could.
And it was supposed to be reviewed by the land.
Yeah, it would have to go to PLDRC, correct. And it will get there. And you had some other one. I've also talked to them. The city will, as you recall, the process is the property owners have to agree to sell the land to the county. And there's 27, I think, separate parcels, of which we have 5 or so. And those parcels would individually have to be offered to the county for that corridor. When I talked to them, they said, now, if Volusia Forever accepts this project, they're going to ask the city, how much are we willing to support it financially? And are we willing to sell our property to them?
Yeah, that's the next section.
Okay, got ahead of you, sorry. And then there is a competing discussion too that's going on. The city has received a very preliminary application to develop 3 large parcels that are part of that corridor. And so now I've talked to the city attorney, and you could support both projects, the corridor, as well as you will be at some point asked to approve the subdivision of the land in that particular project. So it's a matter, I don't know if it's a matter of who gets there first or what, but it could be an interesting conundrum.
Yeah, there's a contingency plan in case it does go through. But, the other one was that they would like I don't remember which time frame they needed it in, but they would like a maintenance commitment from Lake Helen for the upkeep of the area. The amount of work would be less than what's required for our established parks. And they recommended if the city could offer a buy-in, which is similar to what was approved when we did the Costa property. I don't have the values of all the land combined to give you a figure of what the 10% would be. But those are the things that they requested. I'm hoping to be able to have more information for you in January.
Now, if you recall from the Costa property, the discussion at that point was we committed 10% up to $300,000 for the acquisition of the land. The Volusia Forever people ranked us in the B category. B is boy, not A category, because the contribution was not sufficient. They're now requiring 30% of the cost of the property as a contribution from the city to the acquisition of that property. And they do want perpetual maintenance, and that is an unknown. It would obviously vary between the Costa property and the corridor property because they're in 2 separate states of existence right now. To maintain the corridor in its present position probably wouldn't take much.
Well, they told us today 10%, so that's why I'm going to go by what they told me.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt. But they also told us 30 for the pasture. Maybe they just didn't want the pasture. I don't know.
Well, they like our area. They want to see the stream get protected because it's a nice water recharge area for the city. They want to see it get protected.
That's true.
I have a card, Nancy. The question I want to ask is for get clarification. Right now, this is mission report. So you want to about this? Okay.
I would like to speak to this. I've worked on this project for over 2.5 years. I love the cost of property. But really we're comparing sweet oranges to onions, and the environmental significance of this nominated 65 acres, 70 with the city, is irreplaceable. It is vital to the importance of the city of Lake Helen. It is vital to Lake Macy. It is vital to the county's Lake Colby, and it is vital to some of the lakes in Deltona. And I am open to a workshop where everybody can sit down. I know that Roger and I have met several times with the county. It is 10% that they're asking. We have no idea what's what, monetarily. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of collaboration and a lot of planning and a lot of foresight, because it is a very, I can't emphasize this enough, it is extremely important to the environment here. And if there is some growth, we need to figure out how to maneuver around it, because I've been asked to jump through hoops, some of them 2 and 3 times, and the environmental significance that I alone have found for the hydrology in this area is astounding. And if we lose it, you're going to lose it forever. So I really plead with you all to really give this some serious consideration.
This is to be my first time giving comments as mayor. As you all know, that the election took place on August 22nd. I won the election, but because of the charter having some ambiguity, that I did not see until November 16th. During that time, though, I used my time to present myself as the mayor-elect at the county and various organizations, to present myself as someone who is now appointed and would like to assist in getting our city on board with some things. I did meet with the ECHO group down with the Creative Arts Cafe. My initial misconception, I'll put it at this point, was that because of the ECHO program was a team program and they were not fulfilling their obligations of the ECHO grant is 20 years into a 40-year grant. That means that for 40 years, when we took out this grant, that this grant was supposed to provide services to the community, and those services were to be within a certain guideline. It was for a teen center, and kids in our community grew up and left, and we were somewhat without teens. Right next door to the Creative Arts Cafe is the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club has on an average 85 kids per day. They come from Volusia Pines, they come from Ivy Hahn, and these are our kids. Now, it's been said, well, they're not in our community. Most of the people in Ivy Hahn go someplace else. But my granddaughter, when she was here, she went to Ivy Hahn. She went to Volusia Pine, but she also went to the Boys and Girls Club. At the Boys and Girls Club, her best friend was from Ivy Hahn, and she didn't live in Lake Helen, she lived in Deltona. So because of their ability to meet in the community, that the services was for the kids and services for the community, it provided an opportunity for kids to get together. What's my point? I thought that because of the program, should have had in it a program that would present itself to kids in our community. It turns out the gym and several other entities, one was the Deckers, one was the Sinatras, they were given what would be considered by the ECHO that they began to be the manager of this program. And to the surprise of the ECHO, that these managers were not necessarily listed as managers, but yet still they were listed. The gym wound up as the last man on the totem pole, and they made a contract with the city. The very first part of the contract says that the primary purpose of the gym's contract is to keep the city compliant. Now, the gym's ideas and their efforts, they went mostly by the wayside. And I say this to say that the requirements under the ECHO required a list of things. The gym provided a list of things. When those things were reviewed by ECHO, line by line by line. Does not apply, does not apply. Some of the best programs that the city has been able to enjoy, the haunted house, I don't know how many people showed up for that. The train rides, all the things that the gyms are doing for the community at that center, the majority of them do not eat at all. So what is the solution? We're handcuffed by that program. We're handcuffed by it. When that program was built, when that program built $156,000, which was the grant which was given to us to build that program. Community builders, community philanthropists chipped in. And what was supposed to be the Creative Arts Cafe turned into this. The blue part is what the $156,000 paid for. The outside is what we, the citizens and our community, contributed to it. Now we're being basically led around by the, and not to say that this is negative, but they've been led around by the echo that says, if you don't comply, one of the things that they were able to do, and I found this in a meeting, is the first thing that they were given was a duty to keep and make all of their programs compliant. Out of those programs, they were whittled it down to 4. 2 of those 4 gave the money back because they hadn't even used the money for anything. So those programs are taken off of the list. There were 2 left. One of the other programs, which I don't know the name of, the other program was the City of Lake Helen. Because we've had that program for the longest, it has been the bane of the existence of the ECHO and the county to have people say, well, we're applying for an ECHO grant, or we're in an ECHO, and we're not compliant, but look at Lake Helen. Look at Lake Helen. So if I were to make any kind of suggestion based on the feedback that I got from the gym, that I got from people who were basically contributed to this program, give the $156,000 back. Take the program, take that building, and use it for the advantages of our city. We got a Boys and Girls Club next door. Imagine, we got 86 to 125 kids that are registered in the Boys and Girls Club. At least 85 of them show up every single day. Right next door, there's an empty building that was built for a teen program. But we don't have an access to it that would be qualified. What's qualification? Qualifying means that if you put 10 programs a month, that we will be qualified. 120 programs a year, we will be qualified. The way that the programs that the gym has provided, they do meet the needs of the community, but the ECHO is the one that says the last word. Ms. Dean and Betty, they are in the museum. They're in the museum, both in City Hall and over there. And they're what's helping to keep the doors open. Because the museum is a daily program that operates on a daily basis. If for one day, Ms. Betty is not well, Ms. Dean is not well, and somebody comes by to inspect that program and that door is closed, we have almost a 0 tolerance. We've been given 1 year probation. Now, I spoke to our attorney. Attorney said that, you know, we have we may have a legal standing to fight it. But the bottom line is that anything that happens in this program, if it does require us to pay back, it has to be public. It has to be in a public forum. I do not think that the ECHO or the county wants to get into pardon my expression, a piston match with the city, because when we bring something to the attention, and Scott's got the mic, so he's going to clarify anything that I'm saying. And I'm doing this only because of the passion that I have both for the Boys and Girls Club, which I serve on their board, and because now I'm in a position to see from looking down on what the program that we're being obligated to. And there is money in our, I won't say tax money, but there's money that is available that could pay the program off. and do some other things with it. That's up to this commission. I'm just giving my report as what I've looked into, and this is one of the things that's on my list. The other thing that brought a lot of, and I'm going to speak, Scott, I just want to get through my, a lot of things that got a lot of pushback. I got it from a community person. I found something on my desk. I heard of, I just talked about the President of the United States when he took over. There was a letter, I think George Bush left for Barack Obama. It was a letter from one president to the other. Well, I found a letter on my desk, and it was in a folder. And it says, protocols for commission meetings. It was left on Cameron's desk, I presume, by Daisy, and so he left it for me. I wanted to find out more about it. I did also find on that desk, on my desk, and the commission has a copy of that. So, you know, that is for discussion to think about it. And then this was from Daisy Russell, practical advice and words of wisdom for an incoming mayor. I thought that was very nice. It was given to Cameron, it was given to me. So what I'm saying is that this is information I wanted to share with the commission. Because of Sunshine, I couldn't have a private conversation with them, but I could give them a document and they could look at and review it. But by the time I got the information about this document, I was called Hitler because I was trying to impose my will on the city. So this is just information, folks. Whatever you want to do with it as a commission, as a board, we can find this. And the other reason that I even gave it forward, because Scott, I think was also, Lee told me that Scott, I'm speaking to Scott, the first person, that said that we don't have a protocol. Is that correct? Perfect.
When I looked, I did not see in our ordinances that we ever adopted any version of Robert's Rules of Order in terms of how the meetings would be conducted. And presumably that document that you distributed, Mayor, was probably copied to some extent from a version of Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay.
And so on that, my recommendation would probably be to find a version of Robert's Rules of Order that we're comfortable with, and then probably adopt it by ordinance, and then add into it changes that this body wants for conducting your meetings. And then whatever you don't specifically say, we default back to Robert's Rules of Order. That would probably be what I've seen done in other communities, and that's what I would recommend.
Okay. I want to be able to give at least voice to the commission to be able to have their say on how our meetings are held. This has been a quiet, calm meeting. And I think we can learn a lot from just being able to get along and to do the city's business, because this is what we're here for. It's not to do a grandstand. And because this is not my first rodeo, but I've sat where Roger sat for 12 years, sitting on the second hand of the mayor. And there were a lot of things I wish that I heard the mayor would not have said, I wish the mayor would have done. So now that I'm the mayor, I want somebody to be able to tell me, it's time to shut up, Vernon. It's time to move on. Or give me some advice, give me some information. Thank you, Roger. Roger, I gotta tell you. The other thing I found upstairs, and I'm in that office upstairs, and I might also add that, and I can't go in that filing room, we need that. That's something that we definitely need to address. These are things that I found when I got here. The room upstairs, it's mold infested. I worked with FEMA for 2 years, and I developed a taste in the palate of my mouth. All I had to do was walk into the room, and I could taste the mold. My office, on the other side, I do have an air filtration system, so I can stay in that office, and it is a little bit more ventilated. But again, this is something that is going to cost the city a lot of money. We got a building upstairs that you can't go upstairs because it can make you sick. So we're over here in Hopkins Hall. And we're using this facility in ways that probably would be less beneficial if we didn't use it so much. Last thing, this is my opportunity to speak. I did find something else up there. First impressions of Lake Helen. These are good pieces of information to pass us along to the commissioners. The other thing is the Martin Luther King celebration. I did mention before that years past, the Martin Luther King celebration is usually a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday event. The Monday event is the day of Martin Luther King's birthday. Normally what they would do, that we would march from Stetson University over to Earl Brown Park, and in the park there would be vendors, there would be speakers, there would be for the youth. Kids would be able to, the first part of it would be for the youth. On the Saturday before it, they're going to have a banquet. On the Sunday, they're going to have a church where Donnie McClurkin, who is a very well-known gospel star, is going to be both giving a concert at its local church. Normally in years past, the city, like I said, Lake Helen, has either bought tables or they have sponsorship. Now this would be, I think, would fall into that category, Scott, would be something that we could, it's a worthwhile, use that.
Net positive public.
A net positive effect, public benefit.
I can write that down.
Thank you. I just think that I want to be as proactive as I can in terms of helping this community and bringing forth opportunities so that people know that Lake Helen is not a monolith. We're a community. We take care of our own. We take care of each other. And I want to be able to make that point. Something was said in my, when I was sworn in, somebody made mention that there was two people, I can call them by name. George Cusack, who was the former city council and county council, and the other was city commissioner, Jessica Davis. And she was making a point that the diversity and the inclusion, she was highlighting it. They were applauding it. Well, who was missing out of this was Charlene. Well, I think if you're looking at what can be the most best example of diversity and inclusion, there are 3 women on this commission, which has never happened before. The 3 controlling votes on this commission are 3 women. I'm in the minority, and now Roger's in the minority. So we have an opportunity to be able to utilize and to put our city on the forefront. The fact that I am the first black mayor does bring a lot of attention. I've already been asked to do a number of things that I wouldn't. They didn't ask me to do it, I was city commissioner. But the point is that I want to be able to use this forum to bring a net positive aspect and an outlook to our city. We have an opportunity here, and things have changed so much that I'm just proud to be in this position, and if it would not be for you, I would not be here. I'm going to stop talking because at this point we still have part of the meeting to conclude, but I do want you to look over the protocol, come up with something, ideas of your own if you have. If you have any comments on it, so we have to have a workshop or something. I just think that we need to be able to get on one accord and to help the city in more ways than just, well, we haven't been the best examples of a city, but we haven't been the worst either, so I'm just proud to be here. Yes, ma'am? Yeah. Oh, yes. I do have the opportunity to have a 5-minute break, and just 5 minutes, and then we'll get back and we'll conclude this meeting.
Yeah.
We can change land use to conservation, we can change the zoning to CS, but that isn't a benefit for future commission from changing that. So if you really wanted this commission, we don't want this land to be developed, then you give development rights to somebody else. Forever, or you give them conservation easement. Yes, you're right. And the city would have to sell the property if you want to develop it, so the city never wants to sell it. But at the same time, that's how you get it. And then, a commission down the road, who may be contractors up here, developers, who say, let's build this, well, we're going to give you the right price.
This is like a 3
But they're not the city. We can do that on our property. We can do whatever we want. So what's the problem? Who's
by the front door.
Wake her up.
No, I hope that.
Let's get out of here.
We have one more item on this agenda, and then we can, two, the one. Oh, okay, the Christmas okay. Okay. All right, we're gonna do one through. Just for clarification, Roxanne?
Yes.
For tomorrow?
Yes.
Give us the schedule. On the
Commission interviews will start
commission interviews will start in the morning,
at 9.
9 o'clock. We have three, I won't say contestants, three candidates, and each one of them will meet with one of the city commissioners. So each commissioner will meet with all three of them, but we're doing a rotation. So at the end of the day, by 4 o'clock, we should be finished. At that point, any other points of reference, information? Let's go to City Hall, the holiday schedule. City Hall will be closed Monday, December the 25th, and will reopen on Tuesday, January the 2nd. So there will be no City Hall business available. Any other questions? Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a list of city holidays?
A list of city holidays. Do we have a
Paid
list?
city holidays?
Yes, I think I know we do. Yes. Go ahead.
We do.
Yeah.
There's 14 of them.
14. 14 paid city
Let's
holidays.
be nice.
Yeah.
We had 9. I never remember it being adopted after I retired
Well,
to add any. The last couple of years is when they've all been added. Exactly. And that's the truth.
I know there's, in the past, there's been people that's wanted to come in between the two holidays and get city work done. And there's 3 days, on 27th, 28th, and 29th. Because usually the day after Christmas is usually people are giving off. But the 27th, 20th, and 29th, and then the 30th is Saturday. But if there's any way that we could have an employee rotate off between them on certain one of those days so that citizens can still get things done.
I don't know what they do, but all the contractors don't work between the two holidays. Water bills is not out, no development takes place. And of the 6 days, 5 of them are holidays, and 1 is an option for the employee to take a PTO day. But of the 6 days, 5 of them are holidays already on the books. We've moved them from some locations to others. People concentrate within that week. Obviously, if you need police, they're 911. If you need a water emergency, that's the phone numbers on the website. And this is not a new thing. We've done this at least 5 years. 2 years before I got here, and 3 years since I've been here. It's a routine thing to close, to burn off some PTO time, and or use up the holidays.
Okay. Oh, sure.
My question is, how do these observed holidays work? Because I'm looking at the calendar and something, I'm just noticing the 25th is Monday, so that's Christmas. If you're observing Christmas Eve on the 26th and New Year's Eve on the 27th, you still have the 28th and 29th that are not covered because New Year's Day was the following Monday. So it seems to me
you
there's
have
2 days.
New Year's Eve day, New Year's Eve, you got New Year's Day, and the only one we couldn't move is New Year's Day because that is a separate holiday that can't be moved. Christmas is, I don't have it in front of me, you know.
We have Christmas Day on the 25th. Christmas Eve is observed on the 26th. The day after Christmas is observed on the 27th. Then there will be a PTO day. We'll observe New Year's Eve on Friday, that's the 29th. And then New Year's Day on Monday, the 1st. So that's the 5 days. The optional or the PTO day will be on that Thursday.
Okay, so then to that point, we must have 15 days, holidays, paid holidays. Because I wasn't aware that the day after Christmas was observed.
When did they get Christmas Eve off? When did they start getting Christmas Eve off? Vernon, Mayor's.
Yes, ma'am.
When I was there and on the commission, we got January 1st, New Year's Day, Martin Luther King birthday, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving and the day after, and Christmas and the day after. 9 paid holidays. And that was only 2015, up through 2015.
Well, we had it the Monday after Easter because that's recognized as a federal holiday because they can't take Sunday off from work. So we recognize Monday for the Easter holiday.
So would that be 10 days? That would be the 10th day?
Mayor, if I could say something? Please do. You remember recently you adopted the police union contract? I believe the holidays are now in that police union contract, which means you can't change it. You got to negotiate. So, now if you want to treat the police union differently than you want to treat every other employee who's not in the union, that's fine. But your police union is going to, you're going to have to negotiate that as an issue through collective bargaining now.
And that is something new to me. It was not.
And I don't have the union contract in front of me, so I don't know what it says on the days. I can just tell you, you can't get allowed to change the days for the terms of that union contract, whatever those days are. My gut tells me they probably put in the holidays that the city was already recognizing. And so if that went in there, at least as it relates to the police department, you cannot unilaterally change the days.
Well, we will have a new city administrator that will help us work our way out of this. Now, you're really gonna like this one. Pay adjustments. At some point,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yes, sir. I wanted to, we have one that I added to this particular thing. Tom Evans is a lady that we retained to assist us with the FEMA work. She's in the audience. There's been some discussion. I wanted just to introduce her to the commission so you know who we're working with. She's a former city administrator of Oak Hill. And she's been a measurable help to us with the FEMA requirements and submitting that documentation. One of the things on the agenda today she produced, and that was the retroactive agreement with Central Florida Bobcat. Again, it simply reflects what was already approved, but FEMA wants to see it on paper. This nice lady absorbs all that nonsense.
You give her a name?
Yes, Don Evans.
Don?
Yes.
Todd?
So anyway, I wanted you to know her and meet her. We have an agreement that I've added to it. You have on your dais. It sets the parameters for her work with the city. That has not changed. But I wanted you to be aware of it. And, since this is something that will transition between the two administrators, be aware of her relationship with the city and her duties. And she's not there for the first time. There she is. She's obviously bashful. She's not come up.
I'd like to address the
Yes, please. Good evening. Is it on?
Okay, so it's now. I have, I don't know if you have questions or you just want me to explain what I've been doing.
Explain what you're doing and
Yes,
why you're doing it.
I have been part of the municipalities here in Volusia County for about, in the municipalities of Volusia County for about 14 years now, mostly exclusively with Oak Hill, but I have now since left that position and started my own consulting company. I had met with Lee, and he was having an issue with FEMA and getting your reimbursement, and that is something I'm well versed in, as I have received at least 5 reimbursements myself, including a mitigation project. That was one of the first mitigation projects that was accepted by FEMA for a peer project, in which they paid more than 89%, almost 90% of that project. So I've been pretty successful with it. So I started working with this process here. He added that he would like you to be part of this FROC program, which is recognized by FEMA. And that's where you input all of your policies and procedures that you do have on task now, and prove that you are following the procedures and policies for future reference. And this is why this has come up now, because it's above what I was doing